Hello friends, it's me, Anjuli, and welcome to my channel. I know it's been a very long time since I've uploaded anything of length or at length, and to that, I'm sorry. But to be honest, and we're going to talk about it in this video, I've kind of been going through a change, going through a sort of revolution of sorts. If you are about to turn 30 or if you are 30, you know exactly where I am in my life because it just happens where you kind of reevaluate things. And I just came to realize some things about what I want to do with my future. And so if you want to follow me in this journey, in this life of, closing the chapter in my 20s and stepping into my 30s, or if you are in your 20s and you want to learn from my mistakes, because I have made quite a few mistakes, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notifications so that you know whenever I do post, because I'm hoping to start upping my load to something more weekly. And without further ado, I guess let's talk about what I've been thinking about. Reconciliation. So I have been on the internet for a very, very, very long time. I joke about this a lot, but it is kind of a family business. My mom was one of the OG bloggers. Like, she used to get Keurigs in the mail and what have you, back when you would do something on Blogspot, okay? So I'm not new to the internet. I have existed in some capacity on the internet, and I've just always known that the internet was going to be some part of my journey. I just didn't know how. So I've kind of stuck my hands in so many different buckets, so many different avenues, and just haven't found a thing that really stuck with me yet. None of it was really profitable for me, which I know people say you shouldn't do things for profit, but let's be real here, hunties, okay? We live in a capitalistic society. Homegirl's gotta have bills paid. I gotta figure out how I'm going to take care of myself. So yes, making sure that my money was coming in was an important factor to what I was doing, which meant, honestly, the most profitable thing for me to do was sex work. And that's its own chapter in and of itself. I have a lot to say about that, but basically, more recently, within the past 2-3 months, I've decided I was going to get back into sex work full throttle. And to be honest, I'm just not having fun doing it anymore. I have been doing it for almost a decade at this point, and I have taken so many different turns with it. I've evolved with it, and it just seems like I'm just not into it anymore. And part of the reason why I got back into it was because at one point it was fun. So I was like, oh, this will probably be fun again, and what's the harm in going back to what I once knew? But that's the thing, it's what I once knew. It doesn't reflect who I am now. And so now I'm having to refocus and decide what's next? What do I want to do next? Because I sure as heck don't want to be upset and forcing myself to do something that just doesn't please me anymore, that doesn't suit me anymore, that doesn't fit with me. And so I had to decide, what is it that actually makes me happy? What is going to make me happy in this next chapter of my life? So refocusing was really about deciding what is important to me now. Because when I decided to get back into sex work, I was really focusing on, yes, money is important to me now, but also this was stuff that was important to me back then, creating, being in persona and living this larger than life. And it really didn't bother me what the character was per se, as long as I got to play my theatrics. I was a theater kid for about a year, so I was just happy to have a role and be able to make a script and be able to play along with it. But that doesn't make me happy anymore now. Now I'm like, well, I kind of like me, and I want to be able to be me, and what is me, what feels like me, and what is important to me. And so I came up with basically 3 things. Freedom, because freedom is very, very important to me. At some point I'm going to talk more about my life, but freedom is something that is part of the reason why I'm so drawn to creating and content creation and, not a normal 9-to-5, is because I need that freedom. I cannot be in a box, It's helping others. I really, really love helping others. I really loved, being able to connect with others and being able to be a presence for them when they felt like they needed one, or to have somebody to talk to when they felt like they needed somebody to talk to, and intentional creation. So not just creating things because I know that if I don't sell 3 pictures of my butthole this week, I'm not gonna be able to make rent. It's really important to me to create with intention, with purpose, to know that what I'm doing is beyond just something that's pretty, even though pretty things are nice. I want to create things sometimes that are beyond what's pretty, something that tells a story, something that has power behind it. And so really, as I'm stepping into the next chapter of my life, the next phase of my life, it's all about recommitting to me and recommitting to what is important. Like I said, my freedom, my ability to help others, and my intentional creation. Because in my 20s, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, I was kind of just blowing with the wind, kind of just doing whatever, because I didn't have a strong sense of self yet. I didn't have, it was adulthood, but the beginner version, I did not know what I know now. And now that I have things like boundaries, I have things like foresight, like I'm able to go, in the long run, this isn't going to make me very happy. Maybe I should not take those 7 shots. I have a little bit more just power in myself. I have to recommit to that. I have to commit to this being that I am now and do things that honor who she is and not who I once was. I think that is one of the biggest things about letting go of your 20s that can be quite hard, is understanding that all these labels, all these things that you identified with in your 20s, like being a hot mess, or maybe you were a student at one point, or all these various titles that you get in your 20s, you have to be okay with letting them go and then accepting this newer version of yourself. And I have to let go of who I was in my 20s. I love her and I honor her and I cherish her because she's obviously carried me to this point, but I'm not her anymore. And she is a part of me that lives inside of me, but she's not all of me anymore. Now I have this newer being that I'm becoming and I'm forming and I'm stepping into. I think what I'm going to do, scratch that. I know what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus a lot more on my content creation, because ultimately I want to be a representative. I want to be able to talk to different people and have other people talk to me, because I want people to know that representation matters. And I want people to see that whoever you want to be, you can be and you can do. And I want others that maybe don't need all that representation to see that there are people out there like us and we live our lives similarly and differently and we are all out here. I just want to be able to create a space that helps people grow and helps people develop, because there's so much stuff in my 20s that, I wouldn't have listened if somebody older had told me not to do or to do, but to at least have heard it. Because I didn't really feel, especially in my early 20s, I didn't really feel close enough to anybody to talk to them about what I was feeling, what I was going through, and the things that had happened in my past. And I couldn't afford therapy, so it wasn't really an option. And it's not that I want to be a therapist, although I did go to school at one point for psychology, and if I didn't pop pussy on the timeline, I would go back. I want to create a space that can encourage conversation and can help people that maybe don't have access to those resources, and also can help other people that need to see people like me, people that are Black, people that are deaf, people that are gay, people that, all the intricacies of who I am and intertwined. I want people to see that we are just like everybody else, and we may do things differently, but we're just like everybody else. And I want to create a space that just fosters creativity, sexiness, and just growth and healthy growth and grace for when you do mess up, because you are going to mess up. So I'm hoping to start a podcast. That is something that I've talked about on Twitter. It's something that I've really wanted to do for a really long time. And I've always been a big sister. I literally have little siblings, and I've always felt like to my friends, I've just been an advisor to some degree. And I just feel like I would really like to have a chill kind of podcast where I don't edit it. We just talk, and maybe I could take questions from y'all about what you wish you had known in your 20s. And we can just create a vibe here, something that just feels healthy and good and resourceful. And I'm deciding that this is what I want. This is what I want to do. And this is ultimately what's going to make me happy, at least right now. I could change my mind in 10 years, who knows? But at least right now. So I guess until next time, I love and adore you. And I truly hope that you extend grace to yourself. And remember, representation matters. And I love you. Bye.